Welcome, everyone, to Time to Thrive. I'm your host, Bethany Meadows, and I got to tell you, I have been so excited about this guest. I've been thinking about this interview all week. His name is Jas Takhar. He's the founder of the #1 real estate sales team in Canada for the brokerage Royal LePage. His team of 54 realtors and 11 support staff are based in Toronto, Ontario, which is my hometown, by the way, where they average a staggering $1.6 billion in annual sales. It just blows my mind. He's the author of Real Estate Intelligence, a book that teaches how to buy and sell real estate. He is also the host of one of the top business podcasts in Canada, where he inspires others to succeed in life, leadership, and business. I know that's going to become one of my new favorites. He's the co-founder of From the Ground Up Media, which is a pathway for real estate agents to really learn how to produce content, including podcasts. Welcome to the show, Jas.
Thank you so much for having me, Bethany. I mean, just a big congratulations to you, because I know how tough it is to produce content and do it on a consistent basis, for you to continuously put yourself out there, along with the fact of people cancel appointments. People need to reschedule them. Sometimes the audio doesn't work. Sometimes the video never gets recorded. You never know what happens. And the fact that you just keep going, just a big congratulations to you.
Well, thank you. And one of the reasons why I was really excited, I mean, just from reading your bio and all the things, we are kindred spirits in so many ways. One, we are fellow Canadians, even though I am now living in Alabama.
Once a Canadian, always a Canadian.
That's
girl.
Right. It's, and I was born in Toronto, where you're located, and raised there. But I'm also a licensed real estate agent, and I have a real estate company. And so that's something that we also have in common. And, but you are also a person who does all the things. When Pinterest came along, they said, pin all the things. That was the thing about Pinterest. And I say about life, I just live all the things. And so, in terms of writing a book and doing a podcast and having these multiple enterprises that you've developed, like From the Ground Up, where you saw a need and you stepped in to provide a solution to that need, all while balancing all the other things that you have going on. To me, that's amazing. And that's how I live my life. And so I knew we were going to be kindred spirits as a result.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I mean, I could feel the energy from when we were even speaking off air. But you mentioned something like balancing. I think I'm still in like along the journey. I'm still on the journey. I don't always do a good job in balancing. Sometimes I give a lot more time, effort, and love to one company over the other, or one part of my life than the other. I think I've come to realize, I turned 43 4 months ago, and I just came to realize, like, this is who I am now. Like, I like challenges. I truly believe that I've been given a God-given talent that all of us have been given. It's just a matter of finding it. We all have that Michael Jordan, Usain Bolt talent. It's just a matter of finding it. And then what I decided to do is go all in on it. And now for me, it's really come down to the fact that I'm going to see how far I can take this. I don't want to live the next 40 years and hopefully till 113, 120 and say that I didn't give it my all, right? Because I knew I didn't probably know exactly at 6 and 8. I started it at 6 and 8 years old, where I enjoyed knocking on people's doors and helping the teachers sell the Christmas ornaments. And then at 12, like, it was real for me. I started delivering newspapers and realized that like, I can get paid for this. Like, I get money, and that money I wanted to use on arcades and baseball cards and well, hockey cards more than baseball cards, and just fries and gravy and hamburgers kind of thing. But I actually thought I was probably going to deliver newspapers my whole life. Like, I didn't think there was anything better than that. Like, I get to knock on doors, I meet people, I get to see all these homes, and some of them have dogs, and I was scared crap of dogs, and I had to run away from the house, like all that stuff. But then I got paid for it. And that for me was the coolest thing. And I just never stopped. I've had some stints in jobs, like maybe, a warehouse job for a couple of months, a banquet hall for a couple of months. But my whole, like, 98% of my life has been in some sort of sales and service industry. And I just got a lot of thick skin. I'm really born and raised on the north part of Toronto, in an area called Rexdale, where you don't really have a lot of people to look up to, right? But I was sheltered from it because of the home that I grew up in. We didn't have everything, but we also didn't grow up with nothing. But most importantly, I had a father, mother, and two older brothers who, till this day, I kiss my father, I kiss my mother. Just for jokes, I try to kiss my two older brothers as well because I know how much it bothers them. But there's that love still, and I'm the youngest out of the three, and they really sheltered me from that, which allowed me, I think, I can't remember what age, but it was probably somewhere around 10, 11, or I would say about 10, 11. My dad like told me, like, do whatever you do in life. Like, I really don't care. Always come home even if you do something bad. And that, having that foundation and knowing that no matter what, I'm going to be loved, it allowed me to go like, all right, I'm going to try a bunch of stuff now. Right. And so when till this day, as I sell stuff and meet people, I hear, I don't know, probably 100 no's a day. But it's the 2, 3 that I get to hear maybe every other day that have changed the course of my life.
Well, so there was a lot in there that I could kind of jump off of, but the one thing that really kind of stands out to me that I feel like is so important when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, and that's confidence. And we talk about imposter syndrome, and for me, imposter syndrome is that if you're not having it, you're probably not pushing yourself outside your comfort zone far enough or often enough, but it's such an essential role. And your parents kind of gave you that foundation of fearlessness, that confidence enough to make the leap, and just deal with whatever happened on the other side of that. But can you speak to that in terms of confidence as role in success? And if you're really struggling with that imposter syndrome, how do you address that? Or
Yeah, I mean, people always ask me now, like, how did you become so confident, or how do I become more confident, Jas? I think experience breeds confidence, right?
yeah.
The more you do something, I can remember, this is now probably, so I've done 188 podcast episodes of my own in the last 3 years. I've been featured on, I don't know, maybe the same amount or a little less in that same period. And I've spoken to my team and done webinars, probably again the same amount. So in total, like 500, 600. But the first 25, first 50, like, you're not getting this, Jas. Like, it was the first 25, nervousness. You could hear the voice crackle. Excuse me. I was sweating. The second 25 out of that first 50, I came out with a bolt of energy and like speaking a mile a minute and making sure because I wanted to give so much. And I thought that, okay, people love Jas because of the energy, and I'm still gonna come with that. But now the game has slowed down for me. I'm a huge sports
Love
fan.
it. Yeah.
Huge sports fan. Okay. And so I use a lot of sports analogies, but I think one of the ones that stuck with me the most is when Kobe Bryant said, the late great Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace, said, I think it hit him around 22, 23, maybe the fourth year that he was in the NBA, that the game actually slowed down for him. And this is after him playing for 10, 12 years, right? But the game slowed down, meaning he could actually notice the defender's left foot move before the right foot, which told him that he should go a certain way. Or he saw both his teammates getting to a place before they actually got there, where before it was too fast for him, the crowd was too loud, he couldn't see it all. For me now, I'm very comfortable in my own skin because I know that I'm not the the main character in everyone's story. I'm the main character in my story. If I'm lucky enough, I might be the supporting actor in some people's story, if even that. I'm just an extra. I know that. But it's also now slowed down for me. Like I could sit here and have a conversation with you for hours and not mind if I'm not like looking straight at you or coming with a lot of energy. Let me get my thoughts formulated before I actually before I decide what I want to say, right? And so that comes with experience. In terms of imposter syndrome, it's similar to what you said, but I think you're always going to be having somewhat of an imposter syndrome, because if you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself, you are someone that you weren't before that new challenge. Meaning, if you wanted to sell real estate and you never sold anything, well, you're not that person. Like you are an imposter because you're really not that good at that time, or you haven't done it before. You want to be a content creator, a podcaster, for example. Well, you're gonna have to start it before you actually are comfortable with it, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se, as long as you're not lying and really truly fake making up stuff. Like, I don't think newer real estate agents, one of the major obstacles that newer agents have is they don't have the experience. So sometimes they lie or fudge their numbers. What I tell them to do is just, why don't you just join a team that has done a lot of sales? Because now you don't have to think about saying, I didn't do enough sales, or lying and saying, I do sales. All you have to do is just change the vocabulary and say, we do these many sales, right? You haven't done a podcast before? Come out and tell people, this is my first podcast. It's probably going to suck. I can't wait until I'm at my 188th episode and we all get to go back and listen to the first one, right? Yeah, I think a lot of us, if not all of us, put so much stock in what other people are thinking, and the truth is they're just not really thinking about you as much as you think they are. It's almost having a lack of humility to think that they care that much about you. I got 7, if I'm lucky, 12, 13 people that really care about me. Really care about me. And I only have 2 people in my life that have ever and forever, 2 people that will unconditionally love me and have. And that's my father and mother. I love everybody, my wife, my kids, my business partners, my friends. It was never unconditional. They never will be. My parents, unconditional, hands down. My love that I give, it's probably unconditional to 2 people, and that's to my 2 little boys. So that's it. Everything else, nobody's caring about me that much. They outside those 7, 8, 12 people, they think about me. They want me to be good. They want me to be happy. But the second they leave me, they got their own shit to worry about, right? And I understand that. I'm at a place now that I understand that. It used to maybe hurt a little bit more, like, oh my God, I thought that person cared about me a little bit more. But it's just not true, because I also realize, even if it's outside of the 7, 8 people that I got so much love for, like, something happens to these 7, 8, 9 people, I'm not going to be able to get past it as easy as I can get past other things. I don't sell real estate for a month because none of my clients buy. All that kind of stuff I can get over. Something happens to 7, 8, 9 people, the core people, I'm going to be in some trouble for a bit. I'm not going to be as passionate and positive. Outside of that group, I think about them and then I go on with my day as well, because I got a lot of fires to put out. And so once I came to kind of realize that and come to grips with it, you start to realize, all right, like, why don't I just try something different now? Why don't I try to be someone more, if that's what you really want? Look, I think about my 2 older brothers. One of my brothers, the older one, not the eldest one, the older one, he is, I think he's so fortunate because he's so happy in his current state. Like, if you and I tell him about a new business opportunity, just, you're not going to turn him on with that kind of stuff. He loves to watch his basketball game, his football game on a Sunday, have a beer and look at his 3 kids, my nephews and nieces, and just like he just wants to give all his time to them. And who are you and I to judge if he's winning or not winning? Because I can tell you he's winning. My eldest brother, myself, my 2 business partners, like we love all that stuff, but we're ambitious. We want more. But I mean, there's times where we miss a lot of things, right? And so we have to sacrifice. And so to that brother, he's like, what the heck are you guys doing all this for? And to us, it's like, well, we want to be more. And so I don't think any one of us are wrong. I think we just need to go actually all in on those strengths that we have and let somebody like forget your weaknesses, go all in on your strengths.
Well, we talk a lot about, when we go through a brand process, we talk about the why. And we talk about understanding what your why is. And a lot of times when I ask people, what is your why? And they'll say, usually they say what they do. And then I'll say, well, okay, why does that matter? What's the benefit of that? And then they might go a little deeper with it. And if I ask them what's the benefit of that about 5 more times, generally that's where we get down to the core of the why. People who are confident are people who understand their why. Because their why isn't wrapped up in what other people think of me. My why is wrapped up in something that has more of a purpose and more of a meaning because of the difference that it's making. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think about, I think you first and foremost, to your point, you need to definitely have a strong why if you're thinking about somebody who's getting into business for self, because there are going to be so many days that you're going to get beat up and so many days that things are not going to work out. And if your why is not strong enough, you probably don't have the stomach. You're not going to have the stomach for it.
Yeah, real
You're not
estate is very much a roller coaster, isn't it?
Sorry, say that again.
Real estate is very much a roller coaster.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Especially like in this market that we've been in the last couple of years, where like, yes, there's been record sales and values are doing crazy things, but there's less homes to sell. There just hasn't been as many homes on the market. And so, and there's more people doing the business, right? So all of that, and that cyclical, it goes up and it goes down. It's gonna go away and then it's gonna come back again. I've been doing real estate for 17 years, so I've seen this before. But when those times come, when it gets tough, if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and remind yourself why you're doing it, then I just think I wouldn't say it's going to be impossible, because I don't know. I can definitely tell you it's going to be tough. Like for me, when I have those times, for me, I know my why is that, like, I want to see how far I can take this. Like, I am so scared of regretting the fact that I was giving such a special talent that I recognized. We all have it. We all have it. There's something that you were given by the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And once you realize it, if you actually went all in on it, you would be amazed with the results that you got. It's why we have the Beyoncés of the world. We have the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Sidney Crosbys, as I got to throw in the hockey for Canada, right? Like, I mean, I just found that I got away with words. I also have, I got a lot of energy, and I like to be happy, and I like to give that to other people because I was given so much of it. Like, my cup started overflowing the day that I was born, like 9 months before I was probably born. I got really, really lucky. And I know a lot of people who weren't, like, close friends of mine and family, other family members that just didn't grow up with that. And now I want, like, my cup overflowing, I want to pour that into other people. But I think you really need to spend some time on why you're wanting to do something. And it doesn't need to only be business. I think you definitely need to spend the time if you're getting into business for self, like I mentioned. But in general, like, what is going to keep you up at night and spring you out of bed? Because when you're able to play in your hobby, it's really cool. Like, Like,
Mhm.
most people won't know when I'm working or when I'm playing. Half the time, I don't even know. Like, am I working now? Am I playing now? Like, I really enjoy what I get to do. Is it fun all the time? No, there's work involved. But I think I've been able to, especially in the last 2 years, find a way that I can build my business around my life rather than the other way around.
Let's talk a little bit about that since you went there. Balance can be difficult for any business owner, any entrepreneur. It's particularly difficult for real estate because people demand your time when they're available or when they have a question or whatever. So if you don't put boundaries on your hours per se, people will be texting you at midnight, 2 in the morning, 5 in the morning, whenever, looking for an answer to something. So what do you advise your team, the agents that you mentor? How do you help them with that balance, especially coming in? I had a mentor kind of give me some good advice in terms of, putting those boundaries on there. And if you're good enough, people will work when you're ready to work.
Yeah, I think depending on where you are in your journey right now and really in your career, um for example, if you're starting out, I think you should be working 60, 70, 80 hours personally. I think you should. Like, if you really want to be successful in this, right? If you want to do 50 deals, 60 deals, 70 deals a year, if that's even the goal, okay, you need to start out and work every single day, hands down. Like, I'm not into the hustle porn, but I'm saying at the start, at
Yeah,
least for the first year.
right.
I'd probably like to push it for the first 2 years. And the reason is because I strongly advise that you get a taste of everything in the business, meaning find out if you like to work with first time home buyers, find out if you like to work with investors, find out if you want to work with sellers, maybe you want to do commercial, maybe you don't even like any of that and you like just the fact that you like to do the property management aspect of it. Maybe you like the fact that you can work with a team and you have a special skill like branding and marketing, and then you make that a role in a team. Or maybe you're amazing at system building, and that's kind of a role that you can kind of build out. So but to do that, you got to taste everything. To find out what you like in the buffet, you got to taste everything in the buffet line first. That's going to be the best way to find that out. Okay. Then afterwards, and this is coming from a guy that did exactly that. I've been doing it for 17 years. None of this is to impress you, Bethany, to impress anybody who's listening or watching. But
I was
I'm at a
already
point.
impressed before we started the show. So
I appreciate that. I hope it was the smile that did that. But I've been doing this for 17 years. And now with my 54 agents, we do a little over 700 transactions a year, out of which I still write deals at the tune to the tune of about 200 out of the 700. I have not left the office in coming up to, I just looked over to my team members, but it's like 4 or 5 years, 4 years, call it, consistently haven't left the office. I have not touched a computer in 4 years. I don't own a computer. Okay. I'm doing this on a computer, but it's my assistant's. I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, Toronto here, we have like an authenticator that like you have to click to get your password for the MLS system. I don't even have one of those. I haven't been on MLS for 4 years. Okay. So I tell you all this stuff because I want people to understand that I designed it like that. I have I wear a t-shirt, a hoodie, or a sweater. I do all my business and all my content on this device. Why? Because I decided with my team that I'm not going to leave the office because it's not a good use of my time when I'm traveling all over in Toronto traffic and meeting clients. And then I'm running late. I'm running from one coffee shop to a house to then an office. Like, it's all over the place. And the computer, I realized like I suck. I still type like this. What the heck do I have it for? I don't really need it. And so I decided that I'm going to get rid of everything that I possibly can that I'm not good at or I just don't enjoy. And what came out of that is that I enjoyed being on the phones, talking to my clients for the initial consultation, and then creating content. And so now every day for 10 to 12 hours, the 6 days that I come to the office. I always take a day off, which is Saturday. Used to be Sunday, now it's Saturday. And I have it built in where I still get home for dinner and I hack away at it. I don't have any balance. I want everybody to know that. There is no balance in my life whatsoever. Because I'm in a part of my life right now that I went all in, and I'm gonna see how far I can take this. And so if you want to learn how to balance things, I'm not the guy to listen to. But I want to be like full transparency, right? But I did decide that if somebody wanted to get a hold of me on a Saturday, on my day off, there's a team member that can handle that, or the client can wait until Sunday. You got to imagine, when people want to see homes, I have to tell them that they're not seeing them with me. My brother is looking for a house as we speak right now with one of my 54 real estate agents, my brother. And so there's people who come and meet with me, they see my content and they think they're going to work with me, but I built the systems around that you're just not going to get me in that sense. If you want to do the initial consultation, no problem. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm the expert at. I'm no longer the expert at, I don't know what is better, laminate or vinyl, or what costs more. I don't know these things anymore. So I let my clients know that. Like, you're coming to me, not even to talk to me about first-time home buying. You're coming to me as an investor. If you want to list your property, I know exactly who you should be working with, because you're looking at in the west side of Toronto. My expert out of my 54 agents is going to be able to do that. So you can build these systems. We go into a doctor's office. We don't expect the doctor to set up the machines. In fact, I would be a little concerned if my doctor was setting up machines, checking everything off, and then running to go get me a coffee. Like, I would be like, whoa, can you just focus on me and my health? Can't you have some people around you that can do all this stuff? And so that's what we were able to build around me. And anybody who's watching or listening right now that's past that 2-year mark, you could easily have that set up. You just need to be okay to leave some money on the table, because you need to grow. You need people, and to get people, you need to pay them 98% of the time, meaning that you can start with some interns and work your way up from there. But at some point, when you find a good intern, you're going to want to hire them, because you don't want them to leave you, right? And so you need to leave money on the table. And I can promise you, if you take this serious enough, and you, as a real estate agent specifically, but I do it in my media company as well, my job is 2 things. It's to meet as many people in person or digitally, and then help them with the product or service that I have. That's it. There's a lot of work in between. I just don't need to do it, because 98% of that stuff in between, I hate doing it anyways. I suck at paperwork. I can't organize stuff. I can't, like we're in construction mode, hence why my office is like this. If you see my old podcast, I have a studio. It's all kind of, I'm in construction mode right now, but there's no way that I'm getting a hammer. The team knows you don't put a hammer in Jas's hands. Like, that's just not what I do. And so I implore people to really write down on a piece of paper all the stuff that they like to do and all the stuff that they're good at, and then work towards just doing those 2 things, because you're gonna be a lot more productive. See, it's tough to stay up with. It's going to be very, very hard for someone to get the results you're getting when you're focused on the 2 things that you're good at and that you're passionate about, because you'll always put in extra time, because it won't feel like work. So I have a hard time going to sleep at night, and I spring out of bed 99% of the time, unless I had some vodka, I had more vodka than I should have had the night before. And that's because I can't wait to get started again. I can't wait to put the extra work at night to research, maybe some comments on Joe Blow's post that a question came out that I can do a video on, right? So I'm putting in those extra hours. And if you put in an extra hour a day, an extra hour a week, that starts to compound and really add up. And then it's tough for your competition and for your listeners who are in their car right now. I'm doing air quotes, because at the end of the day, you can have a business where you don't have a lot of competition, especially if you stop worrying about them. Like, think about what you can do and what you focus on. but I do want to make sure everybody understands, because this might be clipped into a 47-second video, and then it sounds like I'm all into don't sleep stuff. No, I sleep a lot. I need 6 to 7 hours. Like, and not to say that like somebody might be sleeping 11 hours and saying that's a lot. Go ahead and sleep 11 hours. It's what are you doing with the rest of the time? Right. And so that's quite easy to understand. But me personally, if you give me 5 hours and 30 minutes of sleep, I'm not myself. I'm groggy. I'm not as creative. Now, if you give me 8 hours of sleep, I'm not creative. I'm groggy. I need that 6 to 7 is my sweet spot. I know myself. And then I obviously need to, get home for dinner at a couple of nights, 3, 4 times a week. And then the days that I can't get home for dinner, I try to do breakfast. So I'm trying to hack away at it. I just haven't figured it all out.
One of the approaches that I took to real estate is because, I come from a 30-year marketing background. And so when I approached real estate, I really approached it from the customer experience standpoint and worked my way backwards from there. What are the primary pain points that customers are experiencing when they're thinking about listing their home for sale in the sales process? And how can I create a solution that is next level to anything else in the marketplace so that I can create brand ambassadors for me? And they in turn tell everybody with great enthusiasm why they should be working with me on their real estate. So one of the things that I do is I provide a lot of concierge type services. I have a team that will go in and help them pack up and get ready for the listing and stage the house. And because, people have a lot of clutter and it starts getting them ready. I pay to have the house cleaned. We'll do things like that. I know that you have a focus on kind of that white glove treatment as well. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it started. You use the word brand ambassadors. I mean, I always use the word raving fans, right? I want people. How many times in the process of doing business with us, and then afterwards as well, can the client say, "Wow"?
Right.
That is what we built the real estate company on for the last 17 years, is providing wow service. And what I'm trying to do with the media company, it's so new. I don't even know the holes yet. Like, there's a new 7 fires every day with the media company. I never expected. I had no idea what the heck I was doing when I started this thing. Because I remember I told you, like, the media company started kind of because people kept on asking me, and so I did it. So it's a completely new venture I'm in, but I'm getting there. I'm sharp enough to know, okay, here's a point where I'm going to be able to provide wow. Here's a point where the client's going to say wow. And so with the real estate company, though, the way to do that is to exceed people's expectations. Someone's only going to say wow when their expectation has been exceeded. How do you exceed people's expectations? Find out at the earliest point possible what those expectations are. And you do that by just asking them, hey, Jas, in the process of buying and selling with us today, what are your expectations? And then listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Take notes. And then you have now the data. Well, he might say, because Jas is different than Laura. Laura's different than Steven. Steven's different than Tyler. They're all going to give different answers. And your job now is to go back to the drawing board and figure out places where you can exceed them. Well, I'm expecting 600,000 for my home. Great. Your job is to try to get them 610,000, 615,000. I don't want any headache. Well, just so I understand, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what does that mean? So I really get a good understanding of what your expectations are, and then try to find ways. Well, I don't like the fact that, I've moved before in the past, Jas and team, and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon is when I'm going to get the keys, and my moving truck is already packed, but now I've got to drive to the other part of the city to the lawyer's office to pick up the keys. Great. So now I know in the back of my mind, which is a system because we've done that enough times, where we have one of our team members go pick up the keys at the lawyer's office, and drive them to the client and go there just that day at bare minimum, know who is moving with them, because sometimes it's not movers, sometimes it is their family and friends, and that's a great chance for, it's nothing big, but it's a great time to bring a case of beers and some pizza, because they haven't probably eaten yet, and that's a great time to do that. Not to say you're not going to do more for the client, but that's a great little touch at that point.
In Canada, you call them the 2-4, right?
I was going to say,
nobody here knows. Nobody knows what a 2-4 is.
I try to reverse engineer to who I'm speaking with, Bethany. So, but yes, we say go get a 2-4. I'm not only just Canadian, by the way. We started to try to exceed people's expectations, even before they started to speak with us, and we did that through the book Real Estate Intelligence. There's no cost for it. There's nothing I have nothing to sell anybody today. But that's where we teach people how to sell their own home, actually, without us. We teach people how to buy a home without us. We teach people how to invest into real estate without a real estate agent, knowing that the national statistic in Canada is that only 2% of people would ever sell their own home. The statistic over in the States is maybe 10%. You have FSBOs and for sale by owners and private, like the list for $100 or some discount brokerages and stuff like that. Where if you can educate people even before they start working with you, you start to look like you're the authority, right? And so 98% of people in Canada, 90% of people in the States are always going to use the services of a broker. So, but why not educate those people so it's easier to work with them and they find it easier to work with you? That's why content creation, and I just happen to talk about the book, which is content, but if you can put out podcasts, videos, blogs about that process, not trying to sell. See, we wrote the book on someone selling on their own. We never in that book said, call us. It was like there's no sales tactic to it. It was, here's all the information, Mr. and Mrs. Client, so you can make an educated and informed decision yourself. If you have more questions, you know where to find us.
Well, I'm glad you brought up content, because I do want to talk about the company that you started, the From the Ground Up Media, which I think is great, because this really came about because people were asking you about it. You know, and you just filled the need. There was
I think that's what's really cool. In a capitalist space, right, where you can fill the need, and if the marketplace believes that you're bringing value, you can get paid for it. I never dreamt of owning a media company ever. Like, that's not even something that I visualized. There's things that I visualized and I brought about, but the media company wasn't one of those. In fact, along the journey of me creating content and putting out 10 to 15 pieces a day on all the platforms, people started to ask me, and I gave them all the information. I was like, just go do it. Like, here's how I did it. Here's who I hired. Here's the fact that I started with interns, part-timers, and now full-timers. Here's my whole team. Here's how much we paid them. Here's how to take a 30-minute video and get anywhere from 15 to 18 pieces of content, which consists of video, audio, the written word, and images. Like, you can literally flood the marketplace with a lot of content by just recording one 30-minute video. But people didn't want to do it on their own. Just like we spoke about selling their own property and buying their own property, real estate agents didn't want to do it their own. They kept coming back and asking how they can use the team that I already put into place. And I still said no. I said, well, it just doesn't make sense. My guys and gals are 40, 45 hours a week deep. And the truth is, they're not still giving me the amount of content that I want and I need. But it just kept slapping me in the face. It kept coming up. And that's when I decided, let me give this a shot. I was also, there was something, it's funny how the universe works in that sense. Like, there was still something in, like, I wanted a new challenge. I've been doing real estate for 17 years, but sales and service has been 27 years for me. And I was ready for a new challenge. And we're 10 months in, and I'm very proud that we've been able to help so many agents here in Toronto and across the country. We have one or two clients in the States as well, because what we do is we help real estate agents and mortgage brokers / loan officers create educational webinars for their clients. Has nothing to do with becoming a TikTok star, a YouTube star, an Instagram influencer. This is about creating educational content that you repurpose to your clients, so then you can inform them and help them make that quality decision by same thing that we did. And so it's been really nice to see, Bethany, because I'm sure, as you can remember, your first podcast is nowhere near as good as the one that you're doing today. You're a lot more confident because of the experience that you have. But it's nice to see people that I had started a conversation with 10 months ago, and when the lens came on, they froze. Or like, I got, it's funny. People ask me all the time, like, what have you learned about this process in the last 10 months of helping people create content? And I think one of the top 3-4 things is the fact that doesn't matter where you're from, if you're a man, a female, if you're pink, you're blue, you're black, you're white, whatever the heck you are, we all have insecurities. And it's been like crazy to see 57-year-old men and 57-year-old women, very successful, and some not, like all across the page, having such insecurities and being bringing up stories from their childhood, and then us unpacking that and unraveling that, and then 3 months later, they're on their 40-second video, and they're still worried, and they still have some of those insecurities, but it didn't stop them. They just needed to speak to somebody about it. Not that we're psychologists or psychiatrists by any means, but damn, like any real estate agent knows, you kind of have to play that role, right? I didn't see that coming in the media company, but it's been amazing to see people remove that friction in their head and get out of their own way.
If a real estate agent only produced 3 pieces of content, what would those 3 be? What would be the 3 go-to that would have moved the needle?
Well, I'll just tell you the number one thing. The number one thing is do a podcast, hands down. Excuse me, that's recorded on video. That's it. It's all you have to do in terms of content, because you can then repurpose that content.
Right.
You need to forget everything. Like people say, Instagram, this, that. No, just do a podcast. Who cares if nobody listens to it? Like the full form, the full 30-minute piece, or 45 minutes, or the hour and 10, whatever we go. Just do a podcast and speak to somebody in your industry. So real estate agents, do a podcast where you talk to the pizza owner that's been in your neighborhood. Talk to the superintendent at the local schools. Speak to the insurance broker. Speak to the mortgage broker. Speak to the real estate lawyer. Speak to somebody in your client base, or like somebody that you just met that owns 4, 7, 8, 14 properties, and they're willing to share their story. Because when you record that 30 minutes, you can get 15 to 18 pieces of content. So you don't need to do 3 even, Bethany. Just do a podcast and record it on video, just like this, a Zoom webinar. You could do like a streaming service like Zoom, or do it in person. In person's slightly better because you can just, sometimes you have internet problems and stuff like that. But this is perfectly fine, because now you can slice it and dice it 15 different ways just by recording it once.
You mentioned earlier about having a guide. Do you still offer that?
Sure, 100%. If you want to take it down, it's very simple. You just go to jastakar.ca, JASTAKHAR.ca /vault, VAULT, VAULT. not only will you have the content guide in there, it's like a 39-page content guide, but there is, I think off the top of my head, there's probably another 12 to 13 guides in there that are all my internal resources that I share with my team. It's absolutely free to everyone. There's enough to go around. I come from the abundance mentality. We're gonna figure out more ways to bake pies if we run out. You could tell I like pies, by the way.
Right there with you. Jas, it has been such a pleasure to meet you and to spend this time with you and kind of gleaning some of your insights. You're an incredible business leader, and um, I just appreciate your time so much. I know it's valuable and appreciate you sharing with our audience today. Where can people find you? Where can they learn more about you?
You know what? Just I'm very easy to find. Just Google the name Jas Takhar. I'm on pretty much every single platform. I hope I just brought value to even one person to take action. I know I've done this enough times. I know I dropped nuggets, and I'm very grateful for all that. But what I'm really looking for is that one person at least took action on something. If listeners
Okay.
can't see, I just happen to wear it today. If this is RFA, it stands for Ready, Fire, Aim. And I know that screws with a lot of people's minds because we were raised to with the saying ready, aim, fire. But what I like to remind people is that fire is fire and pull the trigger as many times as you possibly can, because you're going to be able to hit the target a lot faster rather than just trying to aim and then falling into paralysis by analysis and never actually pulling the trigger. So
Wow, that's good.
I would leave everybody with that. That's what I'm really hoping. Somebody actually takes action, because it's nice. It's nice to hear a podcast like this. It's nice to read all the books, but what good is all that if you never actually took action? And to kind of put this whole episode in a bow, um, you get confidence by experience. So you have to do to get the experience to then be confident. So take action.